This year would have been our 65th wedding anniversary. We were together for 49 years before Jay's death. Jay and I met bike riding. I was 13 and he was 16. He came up with one of his friends that I was struck on at the time for us to meet all of the kids at bike riding. When I saw him, I liked him better. He came to Michigan to get a job, and he lived with his brother at the time. And after the Second World War, he joined the Army for a year. And then he was in reserve, and then he was called into the Korean War. After 14 months in Korea, then he came back to Michigan to his old job, and then he lived in a boarding house. That summer, he came back and we were married. We didn't have a big wedding, only 5 of us. It was the priest, Aunt Tommy, and some man by the name of William Mangrum. We didn't know him, but Jay's friend Paul couldn't be best man because he wasn't Catholic, and that was one of the requirements at the time. We were married in the rectory. That was another requirement because Jay wasn't Catholic at the time. So we couldn't be married at the main altar. So we went to the rectory to be married. We went on our honeymoon to the Smoky Mountains, and it wasn't a tourist attraction at that time, and just a few cabins scattered here and there. So it was very nice. And our first apartment was a basement apartment. And then the lady from the boarding house decided to sell, and we bought the house. At that one time, we had 18 boarders. They're all from the Tennessee area. When we had the boarding house, Jay's mother came up and cooked for the boarders. I got a job at Chrysler's. Didn't work for but just a few months. That wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like jumping in and out of the cars. Then I worked for Hudson Motors. Met my good friend Mary Hollingsworth. We were friends after that for years and raised our kids together. Then my mother-in-law had to go home because one of the kids was hurt and she had to go home, and then the boarding house was up to us. Jobs were getting scarce, so the boarders had to go home. So then we stopped keeping boarders and started raising a family. Michael was our first child. Then Mark. They were both born in Detroit. We sold our house in Detroit in '64, and we moved to Warren. I still live in the same house after 54 years. Maria was born after we moved to Warren. And it was a good neighborhood when we moved to Warren. Lots of kids to play with, and still good neighbors. We watch out for each other, and I still like living there. Jay retired early due to illness. And my mother came to live with us about 9 years. Michael and Mark were living away from home by that time, and Maria was in college. And I went to work at KinderCare. I worked in the infant room for 13 years. I enjoyed that at the time. I feel truly blessed for such a good life in so many years. And then doubly blessed because I have twin grandbabies, Adela and Rebecca. And that's the story of our life right now. And it's been a good one. Hope to be here many more years.